Первая ночёвка Энны, пошла не по плану. Nijisanji EN, Enna Alouette, Руса, по каналу Просто я Кира. Не, ну, кстати, по факту. Просто Кира.
Uncomfortable with this topic. I'm gonna be
Так.
revisiting a memory that involves like
Ага.
sex, okay?
Класс. 720p?
18 plus, okay? I've warned you all. If you're not comfortable with it, you can mute, you can leave. And if you're not of age, please do not. Okay, let me tell you guys my first sleepover. My first sleepover ever. Okay? I'm a late bloomer. So like my first sleepover with 2 other girls was one of the most traumatic incidents. I don't know why I'm getting like punished by the universe every single phase in my life. First of all,
Давай.
my first sleepover was, I think I was in middle school, and these 2 girls didn't go to my middle school. I knew them from elementary school, and then we all kind of like drifted into different schools in middle school. I still kept in touch with them even though we went to different schools. One of my friends like moved super far away. I think what happened was like her mother remarried to another
Ну, логично,
man,
да, здравого
and
мужчину.
that man was like not very wealthy, but like pretty well off. And so the house that they moved into was
Нифига не богатый с домом.
I've never been in such a big house at the time.
Фига она вышла, у мамы офигенно.
It was huge. So that was my first time going over to her new home, and it was super duper far away from my home. And you know, my second friend lived in the same city as I did, so we kind of like traveled together to go to her. Let's name them. Let's name the person that we went to sleep over. Let's name her Sam, okay?
Okay.
And then for the second girl, let's name her
Сэм и Алиса, ладно.
Alice, okay? You know, it started off okay. Like, you know, we all did the typical, you know, get takeout, and watch a movie and stuff, and all that fun stuff, you know.
Ну, короче, посиделки.
Then it got to like bedtime, right?
Так.
And I just want you guys to know, Alice had a boyfriend at the time.
То есть у второй
So
девчонки.
when it came around bedtime, Sam was like, we can all sleep on one bed because I have a queen size bed and I think it'll fit all of us. And I'm already like, I don't really like to sleep that close to people.
Понятно.
I know they were my friends, but I just don't feel super comfortable, and I have some trouble falling asleep too. But there wasn't any other place for me to sleep on besides like the sofa that was like downstairs and very far away. And you know, like this was my first sleepover, so I kind of wanted to like have the girl talk and everything, you know, the sleepover talks and just like, you know, the gossip and stuff. I just felt like, you know, it was up until that point I've always watched like movies of it, so I kind of had like this fantasy of, oh yeah, friends talking and stuff. So, you know, we did talk about like stereotypical thing like boys, you know, like, oh my god, so like, Anna, do you like anybody
Понятно,
from like
про
your
что.
school? And I'm like, we just started school. So yeah, but they were like very extroverted about stuff like that. So Sam had interests in other girls, and you know, she talked about it, and I was like, cool. And then Alice was like, oh, you know, my boyfriend's really hot and stuff. It was like the most mean girls conversation of my life. It was kind of boring, to be honest. It's not really my style, but you know, I just wanted to be a part of a group. And you know, and then the topic gets to, so Sam was asking Alice, since she had the boyfriend, she was like, have you guys done it? And I was like, uh-oh. I was so uncomfortable. I was like, this is not really my sort of conversation. I was very young, by the way. I was probably like 14, 15-ish, so it was kind of uncomfortable for me at the time. Alice was pretty experienced, I guess.
Она думает с опытом,
so she was like, oh yeah, like we do it all the time. Sam gets extremely interested in this topic. Sam asking questions left and right. And you know what? It's natural. I get it.
Ну, понятно, интересно.
She was like, oh yeah, but like, okay, but like, what happens, you know, if you do this? What happens when that happens? What happens with this? I'm just fucking there like, I thought we were gonna watch fucking Disney movies or something, you know. I got my snacks ready, you know. I'm It was hitting like 2 a.m. I was ready to go to sleep. I was tired, and I don't really want to talk about stuff like this, but they were on the bed that I was gonna sleep on, you know? I can't really sleep when there's 2 other ladies on the bed talking about sex, and I'm here, like, trying to, you know, pass out.
Она
They
тебя
talked about it
слушала.
for so long, and you know, I was like just trying to sleep. I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to sleep, okay? So they were talking on the bed, like, so they were like talking, sitting up on the bed here, and I'd just be like over here, like
Ну, с другой
trying to
стороны,
fall
да.
asleep, but I couldn't because they were so loud. And the last thing I can remember them saying was
То есть она отключилась.
Alice saying to Sam, do you want to try it? And I was like, when she said that, she's like, do you want to try it with me, Alice? I was like, what? She was trying to say like her parents' room was really far from her room, so they probably wouldn't be able to hear. And I was like, oh, I started panicking. I was gonna have a panic attack. I'm not even.
Я теперь понял, почему она такая.
So bad. I really I was praying to every god.
Прикиньте, с ней бы так же бы сделали бы тоже.
That this would not happen, and this was just a joke.
Видимо, не шутка.
Because I was so uncomfortable. Because they even like started watching porn together, and
этого все и начинается.
And you know the thing is, it's like they're not even putting earbuds on, okay? Like if you're putting earbuds on, fine. They fucking like, you know, I'm trying to fucking go to sleep, and all I hear are girls giggling, and in the background, slight moaning noises.
Ясно.
You know? It's very uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable. And, you know, it ended off with Alice asking Sam, like, hey, do you want to try it? And Sam going like, yeah, we could. And you know what they asked next? They knew I wasn't asleep because I kept moving. Alice was like, Enna, you're still awake, right? You want to join us? And, you know, I was trying to play dumb. I was like, oh, are we playing a game? I was like, are we playing Monopoly? And I said the stupidest thing, which was, I'm good at chess. We could play chess. Even though chess isn't a 3-player game, you know, I was panicking so hard.
Понятно.
And they're like, no, do you wanna... And, you know, they didn't want to say it, but they were like, do you wanna... And I was like, wanna what? What? And they're like, do you wanna, like, sleep with us? And I was like, yeah, we're on the bed. Let's go to sleep. I was trying so hard. To, like, hint at them.
Ну, понятно.
Can we please not do this? Please, I bet I will pay you. I'm not even joking. And, you know, I couldn't really go home because it was in another city. I was trapped. And her parents were asleep. And, you know, I didn't know where else to sleep. I didn't know where else to be. I didn't want to be, like, alone in the living room. The house is huge and dark and scary, and I was super duper scared. I'm just gonna say it. They ended up, you know, experimenting, and I wasn't in the room. I was like, I'm gonna go to the living room and watch TV. And so I went to their living room. I took, you know, Sam was nice enough to give me, like, extra pillows and blankets. And I went downstairs into the living room, turn on
но она ушла, окей.
Put the TV on, and I had the time of my life by myself. And then I had like the biggest epiphany of my life.
Посмотреть?
That was probably the day I was like, I'm never going to try to fit in anymore. Fuck that shit. Because I realized, like, when I went downstairs in the living room to like hang out by myself, I was so happy. I had so much fun. I was like watching TV. And, you know,
ну, короче, она это,
cozy, and it was quiet.
Юрий, да.
And that's when I realized I'm a fucking introvert and I don't want to be with them. And, you know, I only was doing it because I was trying to figure out who I was. And the next day, we planned on having a sleepover for like 3 nights. The next day, I was like, I'm gonna go home. And then Sam was like, oh, why? Like, are you uncomfortable with the fact? I was like, you know what? I just want to go home. I just, you know,
Понятно.
have fun by myself. But obviously I didn't say that. I was just like, oh, I just a little homesick, so I'm going to go home. And so, like, Sam's mother drove me home. And, yeah, my mom was like, why are you back early? And I told my mom everything. And my mom was laughing so hard. And she was like, I didn't know, like, kids your age did stuff like that. During my age, we did stuff that you did. Just sleep, eat,
Проспали весь, да, вот. Она
was
так
my
же думала.
first ever sleepover. And you know what? I'm not judging them. Like, you know, it's fine. Like, experimenting stuff is fine. It's just at the time I was very like young and I was
Ну, понятно.
uncomfortable during those situations, and I didn't really know quite what to do. I just know that I didn't want to do stuff like that. Not to say that it's like disgusting or like, because you know it is just like it's for some people it's comfortable for them to experiment than it is for them not to experiment. So I understand that now. But I just realized that, oh, okay, this isn't like my group of friends that I want to hang out with. Not because they were bad people, but just because like we're so different. Like I was so different. I never really felt included.
Ну,
when I
короче,
was
не
with
влилась,
them.
да, понятно.
And you know, that made me feel
Понятненько.
bad, and then I realized, well, you know, I just don't belong there. And it's okay. This doesn't mean that they're bad. Doesn't mean that I'm weird or an
Она скорее
outcast. It just
более
means that it's just
адекватная,
something didn't
наверное.
click. So I realized that, and I was like, I'm just gonna look for people that I get along with from now on, and not force myself to. Because this is what happens when you kind of force yourself to get along with people, even though from the get-go you have a gut feeling that, you know, you probably don't click with them. You know how when you're young and you have the gut feeling that you're probably not going to like click with some people, but you try to anyways. Just follow your gut. You're gonna have a miserable time. Like, they ended up having such a happy and fun sleepover because they, you know, were very similar in that aspect, and you know, they enjoyed it, and I was very miserable. So
Типа да, она ж типа
so
отстранилась.
this is a lesson learned. Don't try to fit in because you won't. Because you're trying to fit into a world where you're not comfortable being, and why would you do that to yourself?
Ясненько. Ну, информативно, в принципе. То нужно быть самим собой и не пытаться вливаться в тусовку, иначе можешь перейти к такому. Это, в принципе, понятно и, в принципе, ясно. Ладно, мы посмотрели, мы замечательные, мы восхитительные, мы отмечаем.